Hello and welcome to a Seismic Cinema ranking podcast. So put your feet up on the Seven Dwarfs, grab your microphone to belt out the songs from Frozen, and I can't remember the last bit. So marvel at the world of animation during our animated movie ranking. I totally forgot what the last bit was.
Put your feet up on the Seven Dwarfs? Jesus. And here's me thinking, I was the insensitive one.
Oh, it's a movie.
Okay.
Right, so this podcast is going to be our next lot of rankings. This time ranking our favorite, not best, our favorite animated movies of all time. And we had a stipulation for this ranking, didn't we, Paul?
Yep. It had to be animation only, 2D and 3D, but no live action elements in it whatsoever. So things like Who Framed Roger Rabbit out. I wanted Age Master in, but that's got live action in it, so that's out. So this is all pure animation.
The Smurfs movies starring Neil Patrick Harris are out.
Never seen it.
Sonic the Hedgehog's out.
Yep, Sonic the Hedgehog, yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
What a shame. What a shame. That could be another ranking.
Paul, are you going to reveal your answer to the question that's been leaving our viewers hanging since the podcast about Lightyear? What household appliance would you love to see come to life?
Oh, appliance now? You said household item earlier on.
Well, item, whatever.
I'll say food. Like Sausage Party.
That's already happened, though.
So? Sausage Party 2. In Paul's house.
That was such a... I feel sorry for anyone who clicked on this podcast because they wanted to find out the answer from the previous one. I was hoping for something a bit more creative.
I feel sorry for whoever's enthralled enough to really want to know the answer.
Right, anyway.
Does a bunch of digestive biscuits get run about the house?
Yes.
I do.
Well, Paul, I'm looking forward to that movie coming. Maybe one day that movie will be in someone's top 10 animated movies.
What, Sausage Party Part 2, Paul's house.
Yes. Right. Animated movie ranking. We're going from 10 to 1, and then I've got quite a large amount of honourable mentions as well.
Oh, do you now? Well, we've only got a certain limited amount of time, so you can only have 3.
No, I'm going to say them all.
Okay.
Right. So, animated movies. Paul, I vote you go first. And I'm interested to hear your choices. So what have you went for in 10th position?
Right, 10. I've probably gone a wee bit off the beaten track for this one. It's originally from a game I used to play on the PlayStation.
Right.
And the movie is called Dead Space Downfall.
Okay.
So
that's not my list.
I wouldn't think it was, no. So basically there's a game called Dead Space where you're an engineer sent out to fix this like massive spaceship. It's a sci-fi game.
Okay.
And it turns out like the crew have been turned into these monsters. It's just like horrific. It's blood everywhere. It's really gory. And this is kind of in the same vein, but it's like the prequel to what actually happened on the ship before you get there in the game. And it's like through the eyes of like a couple of survivors getting like questioned. And it goes through a couple of different animation styles. Like the animation is not great, it's quite janky and the colour's quite boring because it's like this industrial spaceship and it's like a dark planet and it's all very brown and grey, but it's very gory. Lots of action in it. Quite a lot of horror. So it's still kind of guilty pleasure of mine because I really love the games.
Yeah.
And this, I don't think you can find it on like Netflix or anything anymore. I think it's not good enough to be on Netflix or any other platforms. So yeah, my number 10 is Dead Space Downfall.
I must admit, I didn't see that one coming.
Yeah, there's a couple of curveballs in here, I think, maybe.
Right. I've had a total mind blank.
What,
Yeah,
do you know?
that was your screen names. Just I just realized what you've done to your screen name. So for any audio only listeners, mine is Finding PK because Paul often goes lost when you're trying to do a podcast because his laptop goes slow.
Yeah.
Paul's
I'm sure
changed
the dog.
his screen name from Zerg with a capital to PK is found. So I'm quite glad we found Paul, so we know he's safe. Right, my 10th position. I'm going to tell you just a wee anecdote what my original 10th place was, and the reason why I removed it. Well, there's two reasons why I removed it. One, I decided this movie meant more to me than that movie, but the other reason was, sometimes when there's quite a few sequels, particularly to animated films, they just kind of mesh together in your head, and you can't remember what happens in what film. Do you
Yep.
get what I mean?
Especially as
So
we get older and our minds go worse.
originally, I had Shrek in as 10th place because I've got quite a lot of nostalgia about the Shrek movies, going to see them at the cinema. And also, I had a game for the Game Boy Color. You might remember it. It was a Shrek game.
Mm-hmm.
So I had that in 10th originally, but I can't remember whether it was the first one I really liked or whether it was the second one, or I don't even know. I couldn't even tell you how many Shrek movies there are now. I know there's at least four, maybe more.
I think so. And then it's got spin-offs like Puss in Boots and all that kind of things. And
So I think it was one of those ones that just maybe outstayed its welcome a wee bit. So in 10th position, I ultimately went for the Simpsons movie.
so far down. Oh, I thought you'd have that way higher.
Well, I'm a massive Simpsons fan, as you know, from previous podcasts and just from knowing me personally. But I thought the Simpsons movie was good, had a lot of memorable, fun moments, but I don't think the story and certain parts of it were as good as they could be. Do you not think
Yeah,
when they went to Alaska, it kind of lulled a wee bit, and there was the weird bit with the not the dancer, but do you know what I mean?
the dancer.
What was that dancer? It was like somebody like a mystic person that was trying to teach Homer how he's supposed to live his life. Do you remember
Or is
what I
that
mean?
like the throat singing person? Like the
Uh,
Eskimo?
yeah.
The dancer? What?
um, I thought the general plot, I don't know if going down an eco-friendly storyline route was maybe the best bet for The Simpsons. Like I did like the bit where they're like trapped in the dome, and there was a lot of good humor early in the film, and I think it ended strongly. But I didn't know if it was maybe as good as some of their peak TV episodes.
Okay, yeah, that's fair to say. When I was going through my list and stuff like that, I was talking to Scarlett about it, and she was saying that like I was going through like all the animated stuff like I liked, and she was going, "I hate that movie. I hate that movie," and I was like, "Oh God." And then she was saying about Simpsons, and she was saying that she didn't like the Simpsons movie either because it wasn't as good as the TV show.
I don't dislike it. I've got a lot of memorable memories of going to. So, a friend of the channel, Chris Boyd, who listens to our podcasts sometimes, he came down to Blackpool with myself and my parents, and we actually went to see it in Blackpool, which was quite cool back in 2007. So that was quite a memorable memory. I've said that twice about that film. And I like the change in animation style.
Yeah, it was quite different, wasn't it? When they
You
had
know,
like the bike and all that, and it was like in 3D.
yeah, and it was quite funny. Like the Spider Pig was quite an iconic character and something that people still remember to this day. And I liked the bit with Wolf Castle when he was like, "I've been elected to lead, not to read." Like there's a lot of memorable moments in it, and I did want to give The Simpsons some kind of recognition.
Yeah, do that impression again.
No, that was a one time thing. So my 10th position was the Simpsons movie, which I enjoyed, but I didn't think it was maybe as strong as it could have been. But obviously, we weren't film critics when we were 16, so
We're still not film critics.
yeah, well, we're getting there. We're getting there. Right, Paul, ninth position.
For me, I went for Hercules.
Oh, okay. Hercules is one I passed when I was looking up ideas. So
Yeah, I think it's because it's just got like so many catchy tunes. Had quite a lot of action in it, and I think I just remember playing a PlayStation 1 game, and it was like a lot of these things are like from like watching a movie and playing a game. So
Yeah.
I remember playing the PS1 games. I think it was the PS1 anyway. It must have been PlayStation 1.
Yeah.
And it was just like so much fun. The voice acting was really good, but I just remember like fights, him fighting the Hydra and stuff, and like growing like loads of heads, and he's fighting all the elementals and the Titans, Titans.
I was gonna say that sounds a bit like Spider-Man Far From Home.
Yeah, there's that. So he fought the Titans. Yeah, I just thought it was a really solid movie, really funny. Even Hades was pretty good. James Woods was doing the voice of Hades, and he was really, I think he'd done a really good job in that. So
have you watched this recently? Because you're talking about it like you remember it really well, or do you just remember it really well?
Just remember it really well.
I know I've seen it and I remember watching it. I just don't really remember much about it.
I actually know what I think. Maybe when we're babysitting, it's been on in the background somewhere, possibly. So what's your number 9?
My number 9 is just a childhood favorite, and I just really relate it to my childhood. I also had, funny you mentioned it, I had a PlayStation 1 game for it, I'm sure.
Right.
It's got a great soundtrack. It's been adapted to live action already. And my number 9 was Jungle Book.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I absolutely loved that film when I was a kid, and still would if I watched it now. And just some fantastic characters, as I say, great soundtrack. The live action adaptation was good as well. I think that was that Favreau?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
So yeah, Jungle Book, just one of those ones, and I absolutely loved the game that I mentioned as well.
Yeah, I think I remember playing the game. Jungle Book's one of these things where I can watch like parts of it, but I can't remember like the whole movie. I remember just like obviously the songs, but I can't really remember the overall kind of plot of the Jungle Book, to be honest.
Well, he's like obviously a human child, and he gets raised by the animals, and I think that's a big part of it. And it's maybe a wee bit of Lion King plot wise, potentially.
Maybe.
So yeah, I've always been a favorite. I mean, I've not actually watched it in years, although I watched during lockdown. I watched all the Pixar movies, and then I watched some of the Disney movies as well. I didn't actually rewatch it, so that's one I'd be quite keen to rewatch, maybe in the near future.
Yeah. Always worth a good rewatch when you're watching stuff you remember from your childhood. Brings back all the memories.
So number 8 for you?
I went for the Pokemon movie.
Oh, nice.
So this is just pure nostalgia because I remember did we go to see the cinema together?
May have done.
In the noon cinema, and we got goodie bags.
It rings a vague bell. It's a shame that you can't remember stuff when you're younger, isn't it?
I know, because I think we got goodie bags and you got like Pokemon cards free, and you got like a shiny Mewtwo and stuff like that. And yeah, I just remember watching this. So I used to watch like the cartoons like before school, like every day, and then the movie came out and it had like near enough all the Pokemon in it, and then it was like the clones, wasn't it? Like Mewtwo was cloning them, and they had to fight each other.
So is Mewtwo and Mew in this film?
I think so. I think Mew's in it at the end.
Yeah, because Mew is more powerful than Mewtwo.
Yeah.
Isn't there? Yeah.
Yeah. Because I think does Mewtwo not kill Ash, and then Mew brings him back to life again or something? Oh no, it's Pikachu's tears that brings him back, isn't it?
That sounds ridiculous. Have you ever watched Pokemon the series as an adult?
No.
A couple of years ago, I watched like a few episodes. It's quite interesting.
What do you mean?
It's just interesting to rewatch. Like,
oh right, okay. No, I've not watched it since. I just remember him doing terribly in the what was it called? What was the trainers when he was the championships at the end? What are they called?
Can't remember what they're called.
Pokemon League. No.
Yeah, Pokemon League. I think it was. Yeah.
Yeah, I just remember him doing terribly and having the big king crab, and it wasn't very good.
So it's quite interesting. In 2016, I think that's when I actually did watch some of the episodes. I was on holiday, and that was obviously when Pokemon Go came out. So Pokemon had that big explosion back in 2016. But what a time that was when we were kids, and people were. I remember my big sister, who's 3 years older than me, warning me like, "Oh no, you shouldn't trade that card with that person." Like it was just that's what everyone was doing in the playground in primary school, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, and you got the starter packs in it, and you had like the wee coloured stones, and nobody knew what to do with them, and
Oh
nobody
yeah,
bothered.
I remember them, and the Tazos as well, didn't they?
Yeah, I had them. Yeah.
Yeah, good, simpler good times.
So what's your number 8 then?
My number 8 is first Pixar movie on the list, and I'm a big Pixar fan, so it was quite hard to narrow them down. I thought this film was really clever. I thought it was very unique. I thought the world they created was great. I thought the characters were great. It had a lot of heart, which a lot of the Pixar movies do. I don't know if you've seen it. I really, really enjoyed it. Inside Out.
Is that the one with the emotions?
Yeah, it's like a girl. She moves to like a new city and she's not fitting in, and most of the movies like inside her head, and it's all like her competing emotions. But
Yeah,
there's like,
Riley's
but,
her name, isn't it?
but there's like a world in which they all inhabit.
Yeah. I have seen that actually. I did like that. Bill
I
Hader's in
just
it.
I just thought it was. You're obsessed with Bill Hader today.
Yeah.
I just thought it was a really creative concept and very well executed, and a real standout amongst the Pixar movies.
No, it was a really good film. Quite clever to think to try and go into the emotions of someone like that.
And it's just such a great idea, like actually creating characters out of the different emotions.
Yeah, I think my character in my head would just be tired all the time. Tired
Yeah.
and just a big sloth.
That's just one of the ones where they're sitting in the boardroom or the ideas room, and they just come up with that. Oh yeah, let's go with that. That sounds like a good idea. So I think I have only seen it once. I watched all of the Pixar films, including rewatches and ones I hadn't seen during the first lockdown. And as terrible as lockdown was for lots of people, one of the big things for me was getting to rewatch and watch a lot of films and TV shows that I'd never seen. Was a positive aspect.
No, I didn't get a chance. I was too busy as a key worker.
Well, I'm still working, but I had my breaks and my lunch times and a wee bit less work to do because I wasn't there in person. Right, so your number 7.
A Bug's Life.
Okay.
How good is A Bug's Life?
I didn't make my top 10, which isn't really a spoiler because you've already brought the film up. But yeah, I've got a lot of fond memories of it. And again, I had a PC game for Bugs Life.
Yeah, I think there's a PC game and there was a PlayStation game for it as well. I remember like playing as Flick.
I had a lot of the toys as well, including it was like their big kind of ant house. I think we actually donated it or gave it to Sandbank Primary School for their playgroup.
And if anyone from Sandbank's primary school's here, we want it back.
Yeah,
But
I remember getting that set for my birthday. Like I can actually like visualize it.
yeah, that was a good movie. It was like the bugs against the grasshoppers because the grasshoppers were evil.
Good villain as well.
What?
It was a really good villain, the like main grasshopper.
Yeah.
Was that
Was
not?
that Christopher Walken?
Was that not? Was it not like Kevin Spacey or someone? I'm sure it's somebody that's now disgraced.
Ah, it's probably Kevin Spacey then.
Yeah.
Less said about him, the better.
We'll move on from that, but yeah, Bugs Life really good.
Yes, 7 for me. What about you? You're number 7.
My number 7 is another Disney classic, and there's a wee bit of an anecdote to this. It wasn't one of my favorite ones growing up, but Aileen is obsessed with one of the songs from it, and it goes something like, Prince Ali, fabulous he, something goes on and on. So I wasn't actually quite sure what she was singing at first, but she would do it all the time. But then I realised it was from this movie, and then we watched that movie together. It's another movie that's got a live action adaptation. It's Aladdin.
Good old classic. Yeah, my niece Naya is obsessed with Aladdin. She watches it all the time. What's better, the animated or the live action, in your opinion?
It's always animated. Like, I'm not a massive. I think I can enjoy the live action remakes for what they are, but they'll never hold a candle to the live actions, in my opinion. Yeah, the animated.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, no, I totally get it. I've not actually seen the live action one. I've seen a part of it, and I wasn't too enamored by it. What'd you say?
It was Will Smith played the genie, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I think they changed his song as well. Was that A Friend Like Me or something?
Why do we keep mentioning disgraced actors on this podcast? That's Will Smith as well. Do you have a fun fact?
Yes.
The guy who plays Aladdin is going to play Ezra Bridger in live action in Ahsoka.
Oh, is Ezra going to be in Ahsoka?
Yeah.
Very nice. So he doesn't die in Rebels then. That's good to know.
Ahsoka is basically Rebels season 5.
Okay, I still got to watch 3 seasons of Rebels. So
as long as you watch Rebels before, sorry for any Rebel spoilers there, but as long as you watch that before Ahsoka, I think you'll be good to go. Just in terms of Aladdin, good simple storyline of the what would you class him as? Not a thief. There's like a descriptive term for
street
Aladdin.
rat.
Street rat, yeah. Great villain. The
Jafar.
genie, Robin Williams, genie is iconic. Just an all-time classic, and I think it had to make, in my opinion, a animated top 10 list.
Right. For 10 points, what's the parrot's name?
Ooh. Give me 3 options. I will know it.
No, I should not give you 3 options.
Do you know it?
Yeah.
I will know it as soon as you say it, but just go.
Iago.
Yes, exactly.
Iago or something.
Sounds like a planet on Obi-Wan. Right, Paul, what is your number 6? Is this, see, in terms of football, would this be the Conference League spots now? What's number 6? What's 6th place in England?
Mediocre rubbishness.
Is that Europa League 6?
Something like that. I don't know.
Well, just say
I'm a Morton fan. I don't care about this stuff.
Into the Europa League spots then. What's your number 6?
This is just avoiding relegation. Number 6 for me is a bit off the beaten track again. Final Fantasy: The Spirits Within.
I have no idea where that is, but on you go.
So basically, like, have you ever heard of the Final Fantasy games?
Yeah.
There's like tons of them, right?
I know they are.
Yeah. So this film has got nothing to do with any of them.
Okay.
But it's under the same franchise. And it was actually quite a pioneering kind of movie. It was the first kind of photorealistic CGI movie. It was in 2001. And the main character was actually played by Ming-Na Wen. Fennec Shand.
Fennec Shand, yeah.
And it's got like Alec Baldwin and Steve Buscemi doing the other ones, like voices and stuff. It's really, really good. It's a bit of a... There's lots of action in it, but it's also kind of one of these ones that holds like a deeper message about like looking after the planet. Like the planet's got like a living kind of core and stuff. But basically, I think it was like an asteroid hit the Earth. It's like, this is like 2060 or something. And from the asteroid came these kind of ghosts. And if the ghosts touch you, basically you die. And your ghost leaves your body. And mankind was like fighting a losing battle and retreated to these like domes, which could repel the ghosts, and like they're trying to find a way to stop them, and they're just going around this post-apocalyptic world trying to find clues to try and beat them. But it turns out the phantoms aren't actually bad, and the people at the top are actually worse, kind of thing. It's worth it. I think it's worth a wee watch. I'd say it's quite different.
Where can one view it?
I've not a clue, mate. I've not a clue.
Mm-hmm.
Years ago,
it sounds very complicated, but
yeah,
I'll take your word on that one.
it's weird to think it's 20 years old. Like I remember it coming out and it was like all the rage because it was such a new pioneering kind of technique for doing a film, and had all these big actors in it.
Yeah, I need to stop thinking about how long things were. Like the fact, like Phantom Menace was 23 years old is weird.
Yeah, I know. I was watching a movie last night before, The Last Castle. I put on Twitter, and that's 20 years old. And when I think of it in my head, I'm like, oh, I just seen this like maybe 5 years ago or something. 20 years ago.
The first Toy Story is almost 30 now.
Yeah, 95, wasn't it?
But they don't
Oh,
really age because they're animated. They get away with it.
yeah,
Right.
true.
So number 6 is another Pixar movie. It's a relatively new one. It is set at a particular time of year, quite a unique time of year. The animation is fantastic. It's got a good storyline. It's got great music in it. Music's a big feature of the whole film. It's a bit of a tearjerker. And it is Coco.
I have not seen Coco.
Oh, have you not?
No.
Coco is really good. So it's set at. Are you familiar with the Day of the Dead? It's like like a celebration in like Mexican culture.
Yeah.
Is it Mexican?
Like Central America, South American.
Yeah. So basically, there's a young boy and I won't tell you the whole story, but his dad was a musician, but he walked out in the family. So the whole family hate musicians, but it's his dream to become a musician. But then on the Day of the Dead, he gets transported into the dead essentially. So he's surrounded just by people that have already died, and it's basically about him finding himself and finding out about his family history. But it's got some real good tracks on it, and it's definitely one I would check out. Check it out.
I'm assuming it doesn't end well for the tearjerker.
That doesn't mean it doesn't end well. It's just quite an emotional end with one of the songs.
Okay.
I would check it out like kind of Halloween time.
I'll maybe do that.
Okay.
I'll watch Coco, and you can watch Halloween 1978.
There you go. But Coco is, as I said, quite a new Pixar movie, but it's made my top 6, so it's one that I really enjoy.
Nice. Okay.
So that was my number 6.
Oh, my number 5 is The Iron Giant.
Again, I saw that on the list when I was like Googling ideas. I think I might have seen it years ago.
Yeah, I've seen it like years ago, so it was on TV, but I think for the time, like the animation was really good. The kind of mix of your kind of traditional animation, then it had like the actual Iron Giant itself. I like the concept. I like the kind of old. I think I can't remember what time frame it's meant to be in. It's like meant to be like the 50s or 60s or something. Meant to be. And it's got the old kind of army, and government agents and stuff like that. Just the whole concept of it, I really enjoyed it, and it's kind of one of these films that I've not seen it in years, but I still remember like loving it when it came out. I think he's in. You seen Ready Player One?
No, I would like to have seen it, and I've thought about watching it, but I've not watched it.
Yeah, okay, no worries, that's fine. But yeah, so number 5, Iron Giant for me. Yeah. I think it's done really well on IMDb as well. It's like 8.2 or something.
Yeah, I think I did see it years ago. I don't know why, and there's probably no relation between the films. I'm pretty sure there isn't. Always reminds me of like James and the Giant Peach.
Oh yeah, they're in the same universe.
Yeah, okay, maybe that's why I relate them then. Is that
I'm
a
only
Roald
kidding. Of
Dahl, is
course
that
they're
a
not.
Roald Dahl story then?
No, I was like kidding, they're not.
Oh, did I? I don't know why. I don't know why I connected those two, so there probably isn't any real reason.
The next movie is the Iron Giant versus the Giant Peach.
Yeah, that's the one. Right, my number 5 is, and I make no apologies for it. There's quite a bit of Pixar in my top 10 because I think Pixar is quite
I've
amazing. It
noticed
has
that.
some. It has. What's that?
I've noticed that.
Well, no, only 2 out of my first 5 have had Pixar in them, so it's not been.
Really? Okay,
So I had the Simpsons Movie, Jungle Book, Inside Out, Aladdin, Coco, and Inside Out are the only 2 Pixar
oh,
movies.
sorry, my bad.
So number 5 is a Pixar movie. It is, I'd say, underrated, but quite loved by its fan base. It's a really interesting tale, which shouldn't work, but really does. In my opinion, it's great, and it's set where I'm going on holiday next week. My number 5 is Ratatouille.
That's on my honorable mentions. I love Ratatouille.
It's just I'm planning on rewatching it before I go to France.
Are you going to Disney World already? No.
I was going to, but we were going to up to like a couple of days ago, but we've decided that it would it would take up a full afternoon, and we'd be spending like the Saturday night planning out how we're getting there and getting back. So regrettably, we've decided to not go and just have a bit more time in Paris itself.
Yeah, good call. Good call.
But yeah,
There's a Ratatouille ride in there. It's pretty good.
we were planning on going, but I think it's the best shout because you don't want to spend your holiday chained to a schedule. And that's coming from me who loves the schedule. I'd rather have a bit more time just to explore and really take in the city.
Yeah.
But
Pretty
anyway,
fast.
Ratatouille, just such a strange concept. This rat controlling this chef's hair, and great villain as well. Ego.
Oh, was that the food critic?
Yeah.
Okay.
And just I love it. Like it's one of my favorite Pixar movies, and obviously it's in my top 5 animated films as well.
Yeah, it is pretty awesome. And see, when I had short hair, I was like, that's such a ridiculous concept. But see, having slightly longer hair now,
Yeah.
see any pull on it, you just instantly like
So
pulling from one side. So I can imagine that working in real life.
the next time you're cooking me dinner, then I need to make sure there's no rats about.
No promises.
No curries either.
No curries.
If you
No
know,
rat
you know.
curries.
If you know, you know. So yeah, my number 5 is Ratatouille.
Nice. So in the top 4 now. So my number 4 is a bit confusing. So my number 4 is 9.
Never heard of
Uh,
it. Do you go really obscure on purpose, or are these legitimately your top 10 favorite films?
like see, like these aren't actually. Oh, they maybe are obscure, but I remember watching them. Like they're on Sky Movies and stuff. They were never. It wasn't like some random channel, like some random stream. So 9 is about. So basically, it's like a wee kind of sack boy puppet thing. Wakes up.
A sack boy puppet thing.
Yeah, it's like a wee kind of puppet, like made out of like material, and he comes to life. And he's got kind of clockwork innards that are making him be alive.
Hmm.
And he's got 9 written on his back, on his front. I can't remember. He's got a 9 written on him somewhere. And he wakes up in this world that is just totally trashed. It's totally wrecked. It's kind of like it looks like a kind of Soviet kind of town, but it looks as if it's been destroyed in some like kind of not a nuclear blast, but just totally wrecked in like a kind of 60s era, like a Cold War kind of era.
Hmm.
So this place is wrecked. He's trying to figure out his way, and then he starts getting hunted by these mechanical beasts. Like there's one that's like a bird. There's one that's like I think it's like a rat or a dog or something. And like, see the actual movie itself, it's creepy as it. And like, see when I watched it when I was a wee kid, it was pretty scary and pretty creepy. And they've got voice. They've got Elijah Wood, who plays number 9. I think John C. Reilly plays one of them. And there's like loads of other actors. There's quite a few. There's actually quite a few of these puppets with different numbers on them. He finds a kind of wee group of them hiding out, and they're trying to just survive. And then a couple of them get kidnapped by these mechanical beasts, and it turns out there's some sort of central machine that extracts the life out of them. And they're trying to save them, and I can't exactly remember what happens at the end, but it's really quite creepy. I would really recommend watching it because it's one of these ones you kind of need to watch to understand, but it's really creepy. It's like there's skulls and that like everywhere, and some of the machines have parts of animals in them, like skulls and stuff, to build up their frame.
This explains a lot how you've turned out as an adult, if this is what you're watching as a kid.
No comment.
You're always on the dark side.
The Empire did nothing wrong.
So your number 4 was 9.
Yes.
Right. My number 4 came up in other rankings, at least one, and I think it might have just been one actually. It was the soundtrack ranking, and I'm not going to go into it in massive details because I want people to check out our movie and TV soundtrack ranking, which was a blast. I remember. My number 4 is Into the SpiderVerse.
Oh, very good, very good.
I don't really want to go into this in much detail because we've went over this before, but love the comic book style. Love seeing all the different Spidermans. Love the music, as we've mentioned, and really looking forward to the sequels.
Yes, whenever because they've been scheduled, hasn't.
But yeah, that's just what a comic book movie should be like.
Yeah, an animated movie, yeah, definitely. So
yeah, I'm not going to go into it in any more detail. I think we've already discussed it in other podcasts, and I know you're a big fan as well.
Mm-hmm. So we'll move on swiftly then, since we don't want to talk about that too much.
And also, yeah, we did the Spider-Man ranking.
We did the Spider-Man ranking, yeah. So I went for the Simpsons movie at number 3.
Okay.
I think I've not watched it recently, but I just really thought it was really funny. I didn't have too many problems with it. I just enjoyed it for what it was, and I really liked the kind of political jokes in it. I liked how Arnold Schwarzenegger was the president, wasn't he? And he was getting manipulated and things, and you can just imagine, like, see the way the world is going right now. You can just imagine that happening somewhere.
It's just basically like Trump being president, isn't it?
Yeah.
Do you just love Grandpa's breakdown? It'll happen to you, and you, and you. Then they roll them away in the carpet.
Yeah. I think we summed up pretty much earlier on in the episode about what we liked about it. Feel bad for Lisa and poor Colin.
Colin.
Yep.
That was dedicated.
And I did like the kind of 3D elements just they put in it.
Yeah.
Keep it quite a meme-worthy movie, I'd say. But yeah, that was my number 3, Simpsons.
Spider Pig does whatever a Spider Pig does.
Yep. I like. Sorry, there you go.
Any more of that song, we'll be getting sued. So, right, my number 3 is my favorite Disney movie of all time. It has just an absolute classic. It has amazing soundtrack. It's another one that has a live action adaptation. I can't pick my cats up without the you know that bit. My number 3 is The Lion King.
The original.
Maybe that's your dog, not my cat, making that noise. Well, Paul, we're doing animated ranking, so yes, the original Lion King.
Just checking. Well, is
Also-
the live action not actually CGI?
Yeah, I suppose it would count, but yeah, the original one, yeah. It's so cool. See, when you know that Mufasa is voiced by James Earl Jones. See, when you just listen to his scenes, do you know how like Mufasa, spoilers for a 90s film, dies earlier in the movie, the Scar incident? See the bit when he sees his dad at the water, it's like a kind of ghost of his dad. See
Mhm.
just closing your eyes and just hearing Darth Vader. It's pretty cool. But Lion
I wonder
King.
who's going to be your number one voice actor when that ranking comes around.
Oh, that's a good idea. Let's write that down.
I'll probably
So just yeah, Lion King, just such a great cast of characters, just such memorable soundtracks. The whole Hakuna Matata, just something to live by. Just yeah, Lion King had to be up near the top for me.
you've gone very traditional with your list, I'd say.
Well, I don't know these random films that you watch, so that was always the way I was going to go. So
No, good solid number two. What was that number three for you, wasn't it?
my 3. This is your 2.
Yeah. Right. So my number 2 is Big Hero 6.
You're just making these up there, aren't you? Like I've heard of that. I've not seen it, but they're just sorry, you're ranking, I know, but there's just been a lot of omissions that I would have expected. Unless you were
So
unless you were planning on going quite left field.
not really. No. It's just these are ones, when I do my rankings, that I kind of think of things that I remember really well because I really enjoyed them. Not like I could look up lists on the internet and be like, oh well, yeah, I could get that, but these are ones that really stood out for me.
Fair enough.
So Big Hero 6, I remember because Baymax. So you've not seen Big Hero 6, have you?
I don't think so.
Yeah. So basically, there's like a setting like what is it, San Fran, Tokyo or something like that. It's called like futuristic, and there's like a tech school, and this older brother creates a robot. It's like a kind of what is he? Personal healthcare assistant or something. Like if you hurt yourself, he'll help you, or if you need like help mentally, he'll help you. And he's just such a cool design, such a cute design. With just a big
Is it like white, big and white?
yeah.
Yeah, I'm familiar with the character. I've just not seen the
All right,
film.
okay, yeah. So the older brother ends up dying, and the younger brother finds solace in the robot. Um, and then they go out to try and investigate his brother's death because some of his stuff got stolen, some of his tech that he was working on,
Hmm.
and then it leads them to who killed him, and they bond over it, and they end up having quite a good wee group as well of friends. I think there's actually a Disney Plus series coming out for it as well, but I probably won't watch
Yes,
it.
yes,
What?
yes, you will.
After 3 seasons of Rebels and a season of Loki and a season of etc. Hawkeye.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that was my number 2, Big Hero 6.
Cool. I also think that we should definitely do a sequel to this about our top 10 animated TV shows at some point.
Sure. Oh, I don't know. I don't think I've watched too many animated TV shows. Oh, do you mean like cartoons?
Cartoons.
Okay. Oh yeah, yeah.
I was actually thinking when we were doing this, I was like, if only Invincible had a movie.
Yes. Excellent.
That I'm glad that was one of your good suggestions. I'm glad that I stuck with that. Right. So if you thought I've been traditional so far, I'm going to continue being traditional. My number 2 is the first Toy Story,
Dun,
which
dun, dun.
I don't think you can have any animated film list without Toy Story because it was the game changer in the industry. Just you can't. I can't even describe Toy Story. Just massive part of my childhood. I remember you had the the tub of the army men.
Oh yeah, so I did. Yeah. Aye, that's right. I bought it from the Disney store in Glasgow.
So I had the Buzz that I had earlier, Woody. I could never get Slink as a toy growing up, so I actually made my own. I had 2 bits of cardboard, and then I had like the kind of bit you would get on like a keyring,
Mm-hmm.
we like stretchy bit in the middle.
Yeah.
That was my Slink, and I had Mr. Potato Head as well.
Oh yeah. There's probably still like bits lying about your mum and dad's house with Mr. Potato Head.
So yeah, just Toy Story just created a whole like I don't think a lot of these films we're talking about would have came about if it wasn't for the advances in technology that Toy Story had done.
Yeah. Did you just have a ham piggy bank as well?
Yeah, didn't really do very much. You just pressed the thing and like a wee coin came out his bum. uh, just such a great, such a great cast of characters. Even like the aliens and the gripper machine. It was just such a great concept that
Yeah.
the toys came to life. Apart from the one inconsistency people pointed out that Buzz pretended to be not alive, even though he thought he was a space ranger, not a toy. But that was just a minor thing.
Just a minor consistency.
And
Yeah, but it was good. There's so many iconic kind of play like Pizza Planet,
uh,
Spike. Was it Spike? Is that his name?
Sid.
Sid.
Aye,
Spike.
what a villain Sid was. And the games, do you remember the game I have for the PS2 and you're in, it's like Toy Story 2 game and you're in
Yeah.
Andy's house and you had to, I always remember the bit you just had to go into like the basement and there was like loads of like green goo.
Mm-hmm. You had to jump in boxes and stuff.
And I had the one for the Sega Mega, still got it. Sega Mega's right beside me. When you just like bounced on like with the classic ball, yellow ball with a red star.
Yeah.
Just great. And I'm glad Toy Story as a whole has been good. I think it's like consistently been pretty good throughout
Yeah.
its whole
I
run.
think these things like people tend to drift away from the projects. Like so like I think if it wasn't that good, if it was going in a terrible direction, like Tom Hanks wouldn't have stayed on as long as he did.
Yeah.
But you end up getting the alternative voice actors and it's just not the same. So yeah, I think it's keeping up with the quality.
Nah, definitely. So that's my number 2. What's your number 1?
Drum roll. I've actually went into the SpiderVerse.
Oh, okay.
So pretty much the same things you said. I really enjoyed the music. I really enjoyed the animation style, probably the most. I think I spoke about this in previous podcasts that I like how Miles is quite like you notice that he's kind of stuttery and janky his animation style.
Yeah.
And then the more he becomes confident with his powers, the more smoother it becomes, and it just becomes fluent. It's like the other Spider-Man and Spider-Woman in the movie. So just like kind of wee things like that has really made it quite a cool wee movie. So yeah, my number 1 was Into the Spider-Verse. Obviously, we talked about it more in the other podcasts, but definitely it's one I could just sit down and watch like all the time.
Did you maybe I did wrong? Did you not have any Pixar movies at all on your list?
No idea. Don't think so.
It's interesting. So my number 1, and it's always very close between 2 and 1, but as I've mentioned before in a previous ranking, I think it was the movie ranking maybe, Toy Story 3 I thought was a masterpiece.
Oh, that was a emotional wrecker, wasn't it?
And I think a lot of it came from the fact, as we mentioned previously, you should check that one out, by the way. You really should check that one out. It was just the way they did it and the amount of time they waited. We were the same age as Andy going off to college as he was in the film. And I think just that made it so much more. I think we were about 19. I think I was 19 when Toy Story 3 came out. And just a quick aside, Toy Story 2 I didn't like as much when I was younger. Loved the video games. Jesse always annoyed me, but I've grown to really appreciate it a lot more as time's went on. And Toy Story 4 was a nice surprise. It was the movie that I never thought was needed because
I've not seen it.
Toy Story 3 was such a great end. I would recommend checking it out. It is good in its own right and it's really enjoyable. I went up to Falkirk when I was seeing Callum to go see it. So I saw it at the cinema, but I would definitely check it out if you get a chance. In terms of Toy Story 3, I just loved the concept of how it was Andy going to be at college. I loved the kind of bit where they're trying to like break them out of the what do you call it? The kindergarten. I thought that was really good. I liked a lot of the humor, like Spanish Buzz, my name in the previous pod, and Mr. Tortilla Head. Remember, Mr. Potato Head is the tortilla.
Yeah.
And just the heart, the famous, infamous scene where they're about to go down and get incinerated. And for me, the most emotional bit was when Andy gives away the toys at the end. Like, that's the bit that really gets me because I definitely wouldn't do that.
How many times did you cry?
Probably quite a few. So Toy Story 3, my favorite Pixar movie, my favorite Toy Story movie, and one of my favorite movies. But Toy Story 1 is really close up there. Like there's not that much in it.
Yeah. Okay.
So, yeah,
that's a good solid one.
That's our top 10s. So yeah, I went really traditional. You went very niche, but I think that's what keeps these rankings interesting. Is we do not know what you're going to come out with, and I'll keep some of the classics in there as well. So, Paul, did you have any honourable mentions you'd like to mention?
I did, but they're kind of mixed in. So let's see what we got. So, had Sausage Party, Part 1.
Actually,
I did. Hey,
I've never watched that. Don't plan
to. See after working in a supermarket for such a long time, you can see it happening. Then I had The Page Master because that was an amazing film. It does have a bit of live action in it, so I'm cheating, but it's an amazing film. Ants. Did you watch that?
I vaguely remember watching that years ago. It's just a Bugs Life knockoff, isn't
it? Kinda. Had Ratatouille as well. Toy Story.
Which one?
Sorry,
Right, I've got a big list. I'm going to rattle through it very quickly because I do want to share it with you. I put Frozen in. Frozen is good. Let's not lie. Frozen has a great soundtrack and is really good fun, and Olaf's really cool as well.
You disappoint me so much.
I didn't put it in the main one though. I can't remember. It was probably the first one. Ice Age.
Yeah, that was good. Yeah.
I also quite enjoyed. I think I've only watched one of them. Madagascar. Did you ever watch any of them?
I watched one, I think.
Monsters Inc. was also a real classic.
Oh yeah, Monsters University, like that.
I also quite enjoyed Monsters University. I like a kind of prequel when like you find out their origin story. So I quite enjoyed that, although it wasn't as highly viewed at the time. I had Bugs Life, the Pokemon movie, Arthur Christmas. It's a good Christmas movie. I don't know if you've watched that.
I've seen that now.
Finding Nemo probably potentially could have cracked the top 10. That's a real Pixar classic. Wreck-It Ralph.
Oh yeah. I had that honourable mentions as well. Now I took it off. I scribbled it.
I've not seen the sequels. The first Cars movie I thought was really good.
Lightning McQueen.
Yeah. Just a bit of a nostalgic one from watching it with my sister when I was younger. 101 Dalmatians with Cruella de Vil.
Like you, Mando. I think that way.
Yes. Another one I thought of really late on was Tarzan. I had a PlayStation 1 game for it.
Oh god, that was annoying, wasn't it?
Universal, it's just surfing down the trees.
And then you were like on all fours, and you're on the boat, and it had the sliding crates and stuff. You had to
Yeah,
climb up things.
I remember the game more than the movie, if I'm honest.
Me
I
too.
also put down some classics. Peter Pan was a classic as well. Didn't quite crack the top 10. One that I thought of quite late on, it was more because it's more of a stop motion aspect, was a Wallace and Gromit movie.
Oh yes, they were very good. The wrong trousers.
And a similar kind of vibe, the Tim Burton ones, Nightmare Before Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
And one that to this day horrifies me, Coraline.
I've never seen that.
Oh, it's creepy. Like all the characters have like it's like buttons instead of eyes, and it was just really creepy. So yeah, that was my honourable mentions. A lot of them weren't really close in terms of cracking the top 10. The Pokemon movie I considered, Finding Nemo, and that's probably it. They're probably the only ones that would have cracked my top 10.
Yeah, I kind of went a bit nostalgic on mine. They probably aren't like Dead Space Downfall at 10. It's probably, if you watch it now, it's probably an absolute honker of a movie. But I think just pure nostalgia wise, I liked it. Yeah, it was quite. I probably could have swapped out quite a few of them if I was thinking overall, but I just get too caught up in the nostalgia.
But there might be somebody listening who liked those films too, and it might grab an extra listener. So that's all good. So I quite enjoyed that. I always enjoy doing the rankings. I think it's always good to have that we nostalgia trip and think about
Yeah.
some childhood movies. So in terms of plugs, we are on social media on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. So make sure you follow us if you don't already. You're probably hopefully watching us live on YouTube. So please subscribe and click the notifications button. I promise one day we'll get all those buttons on the screen. And if you're an audio listener, we're on Spotify, Anchor, Good Pods, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Audible, and probably some more that I missed. So in terms of moving forward, this is coming out on Monday, the 11th of July. On the Thursday, we're going to be showcasing our spoiler review of Thor: Love and Thunder. And the following Monday, we're going to do our ranking of our top 10 favourite comedy movies, which should be a barrel of laughs. So, Paul, let's see if you can get the slogan right this time round.
I was trying to think of something witty to say, but couldn't remember. I couldn't think of it, and so it's just going to be plain old power of escapism.
So keep escaping and believing in the power of escapism. So thank you all for listening, and we'll see you next time.
See you next time. Bye.